Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mayor Val Vandenberg, and I'll call the July 25th, 2022 regular Langley City Council meeting to order and begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the traditional unceded territory of the Kaitsi, Kwantlen, Mascli, and Semiahmoo First Nations. And for any members of the public who are in attendance to watch these proceedings, welcome. And just a reminder to keep your mics and your camera turned off while you are in attendance. With me, I have members of council, Councillor Paul Albrecht, Councillor Terry James, Councillor Gail Martin, Councillor Nathan Ahal, Councillor Rodi Stortaboom, and Councillor Rosemary Wallace. For staff members attending today, we have Francis Chung, our Chief Administrative Officer, Darren Light, our Director of Corporate Services, Carl Johansson, our Director of Development Services, Rick Baumhoff, our Director of Engineering, Parks and Environment, Kim Hilton, our Director of Recreation, Culture and Community Services, Kelly Kenny, our Corporate Officer, and Scott Kennedy, our Fire Chief. So thank you everyone for attending. As per Councillor Stortaboom's request, I'm just here to remind everyone too that we have some extreme heat coming up this weekend, and that Tim's in the library will be cooling centers, just a reminder, and to check on people that are alone and elderly especially, and to drink lots of water and stay in the shade. On another note, I do need to say a few words about the tragic situation that's unfolded in Langley City this morning. And I'd like to say that our hearts, thoughts, and prayers go out to everyone affected by this tragedy. And thank you to the RCMP, EHS, and Langley Memorial Hospital for the response that they gave to the numerous scenes and numerous people that have been injured this morning. As well, Victim Services is providing any counseling to anybody that needs it or requires it. And you can also call 211 or 811 for medical services if you do need someone and you've been affected by it. As well, if you do have any information to any of the incidents that happened, unfolded, please call the local RCMP at 604-532-3200. And again, like I said, our thoughts, heart, and prayer go out to the people that were affected and the friends of family of those affected by what happened in the city this morning. So we are going to go on to our regular meeting, adoption of the agenda. And before we consider adoption of the agenda, I understand Councillor Wallace, you have a proposed addition to the agenda, late in kind application Terry Fox run. And that information about this item has been circulated to council ahead of the meeting as required. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, so can I have a mover and a seconder to add this item to the agenda? Councillor James, Councillor Paul, all those in favor? Any opposed? And that carries. I also have two proposed additions to the agenda that have been circulated to council as required. Report motion 2022-0725 and harassment, bullying, discrimination motion 2022-0724. I'm a mover, seconder, Councillor Bahal, and I'll move it a second. All right, all those in favor of adding it to the agenda, and that carries. Okay, so we have a motion that the July 25th, 2022 agenda be adopted as amended by adding late in kind grant application Terry Fox run to the agenda as item 8A1 under new business, adding report motion 2022-0725 to the agenda as item 8A2 under new business, adding harassment, bullying, discrimination motion 2022-0724 to the agenda item as item 8A3 under new business. Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor James, Councillor Bahal, any further discussion? All those in favor? And that carries. All right, and if there's no objection, we can consider the 3 sets of minutes in one motion that the minutes of the following meetings be adopted as circulated. A, regular meeting minutes from July 11th, 2022. B, public hearing meeting minutes from July 11, 2022, and C, special meeting minutes from July 18th, 2022. Are there any errors or corrections or omissions to be added? Need a mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Stordeboom, Councillor James. All those in favor? Any opposed? And that carries. All right, we have 3 delegations today. The first one up is Salmon Safe Certification Program. We have Andrea McDonald from the Fraser Basin Council, Nicole Marples from the Langley Environmental Partners Society, and Nina Shaw from Nikomaco Enhancement Society. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having us. I will share my screen now. Just confirming that folks can see the presentation. Wonderful. Okay, so thank you for Mayor and Council for having us speak to you today about the Salmon Safe Eco Certification Program. And before I start, I wanted to share our condolences and deepest sympathies with you and your community during this very difficult and shocking time. My name is Andrea McDonald, and I'm the program coordinator with Salmon Safe BC, calling in today from the traditional and rightful lands of the Squamish Nation. Salmon Safe's goal is protecting and restoring salmon health and habitat through transformative land and water management practices. In British Columbia, Salmon Safe is hosted by the Fraser Basin Council, a nonprofit organization aimed at promoting social well-being, supported by a vibrant economy that is sustained by a healthy environment. This is a really great photo that showcases how our lands and waters are interconnected. Impacts on the landscape have a direct, cascading, and often cumulative effect on wild Pacific salmon that migrate through our urban and rural landscapes to and from the ocean. The Nikomaco Enhancement Society and Langley Environmental Partners Society engaged Salmon Safe BC to present as a possible tool to address the growing concerns surrounding the health of the Nikomaco River, wild salmon populations, and other aquatic species. The principles of Salmon Safe are an excellent way to ensure conservation of the river by promoting sustainable development and agriculture across the city. The Salmon Safe standards have been developed specifically for the biological needs of salmon and look at the nexus between land and water management practices and their impact on salmon populations and overall watershed health. Today, due to time constraints, I'll just be focusing on our urban program, but we also do have an agriculture program which could also be applicable. There are a total of 8 urban standards, with 6 core standards applying to all buildings and 2 context-dependent standards applying to sites where a watercourse or wetland is present. Standard 1, stormwater management, aims to minimize the amount of stormwater generated on site and improve the quantity and quality of water leaving the site. Standard 2, water use management, promotes the capture and reuse of rainwater as much as possible to reduce the use of potable water and wastewater leaving the site. Standard 3, erosion prevention and sediment control, exceeds all Metro Vancouver requirements by ensuring a total of 0 sediment runoff from the site. Standard 4, pesticide reduction and water quality protection, aims to minimize the use and restrict the type and method of pesticide application through integrated pest management. Standard 5, enhancement of urban ecological function, takes a holistic site-level approach to improve overall ecosystem health. And the final core standard, climate resilience planning, ensures that the site design related to potential climate change impacts are considered, such as flooding, increased precipitation, sea level rise, changing climatic patterns, and more. And the 2 context-dependent standards focus on in-stream and riparian wetland protection and restoration along eligible sites. Currently, Salmon Safe has 10 sites in progress, 1 site renewal, and 1 certified site of Vancouver International Airport. You can see that the sites range from Victoria all the way to Vancouver's North Shore. Many of the developments that meet these requirements of Salmon Safe do so through the use of green infrastructure or nature-based solutions, things like bioswales, rain gardens, green roofs, and more. The benefits of nature-based approaches in urban environments also extend far beyond water quality protection and enhancement. They also promote urban cooling, something very valuable during the heat wave that we're expecting this week and already experiencing, increased mental health and well-being, carbon sequestration, and more. After reviewing some of the city's policies and OCP, there's high alignment with Salmon Safe standards. The most apparent alignment is outlined on the screen. After reviewing the DPAs for general environmental guidelines, there's also significant alignment with what is already required and what Salmon Safe already requires of developers, making the certification a very easy tool to accomplish many of the city's already existing goals. There's also high alignment with the Nikomeco neighborhood plan, which promotes soft engineering, ecological restoration, habitat restoration, and the use of sustainable building materials, something that Salmon Safe also requires by restricting the use of zinc and copper to protect water quality. Additionally, we read that the Langley City is committed to working with Kwantlen First Nation and local NGOs on salmon habitat restoration and water management. And another hat that I also wear, as some of you may be familiar, I work with FBC to facilitate the Shared Waters Alliance, which is a collaborative group that works to restore water quality in Boundary Bay, a water body that Langley City eventually drains into. And the commitments and partnerships made with Semiahmoo Nation and the Shared Waters Alliance could be furthered through the use of Salmon Safe programs to promote more sustainable development in agriculture. Going forward, we encourage the city to explore opportunities for the inclusion of Salmon Safe in civic operations, development recommendations to private organizations and entities, and the use of Salmon Safe in agriculture practices where applicable. If you'd like to learn more, please don't hesitate to reach out to myself, the program coordinator, or our program manager, Teresa Fresco. Our emails are listed on the screen. And if you'd like to explore more information on your own time, please feel free to visit our website or our YouTube channel, where we have educational webinars that dive deeper into what the standards actually stand for. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Andrea, for that presentation. I miss being on the Fraser Basin Council. You guys are doing great work there. So thank you, and thank you for your presentation. Councillor Sturdivant, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you for this lovely presentation. I've been quite looking forward to it, because I'd like to think that we're in a place where, we're able to restore some of the habitats that, have been damaged over the years. And I know that you have a great passion for this, and you've got a lot of concern about aligning with city policies and other support groups as well. And I did want to offer a special hello to my friend Nicole Marples, who sits with you. I'm just curious to know what your relationship is with the Nikomeco Enhancement Society. I presume that you're partnering alongside them moving forward, aligning with them on policies like you want to do with the city of Langley. And I'm also curious to know, we've released a lot of fry into the Nikomeco. Are we seeing a lot of return on that? And oh, there's Nina. Thank you very much, Nina. I appreciate seeing you. Thank you for moving this forward.
I'll let Nina address the linkage between us. And Nina, you're muted, so please go ahead.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah. So the question was about the number of fry we're releasing and what returns we get.
Yeah, there's that. What kind of a return do we get? Are we seeing a benefit from all those fry releases that we've been doing for such a long time? And also, if you could comment on your group's relationship with the Nikomeco Enhancement Society, please.
Yeah, so Nikomeco Enhancement Society, as you know, runs a hatchery and has been raising fry and releasing fry. We've been releasing in recent years 200 to 250,000, and in some years it's even gone up to 350 to 400,000, and which includes fry raised by a DFO hatchery. So recently 50,000 coho raised at DFO in Inch Creek. In terms of returns, we don't have numbers of what are the returning spawners, and that's because there isn't a count, at the mouth of the Nikomeco. I don't know if it's possible the sea dam at the mouth of the Nikomeco is going to be replaced by the city of Surrey, and whether there will be some, is possible to incorporate some sort of monitoring, some sort of enumeration technology that would enumerate. But the numbers of salmon, my understanding from people who've been involved in the organization for a number of years, have increased over time, because when the group started in 1989, the runs had declined considerably.
I understand. Thank you very much for your answer. And thank you again for you and your team and all of the good work that you do. I really appreciate your special effort. Thank you for appearing today. And thank you, Madam Mayor, for hearing me out.
Thank you. Councillor Paul, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor, and through the mayor. So you noted that our city had some good policies already. Was there any significant changes you'd like us to do to further this program?
So I can tackle this a little bit at first. The beauty of the Salmon Safe program right now is for enforcement of policies. I know can be a significant challenge for many municipalities, where this kind of puts the onus on the private developer to ensure that they're using the most holistic and environmentally sound practices possible. And it's the third-party certification to ensure that they're accountable to those practices as well. And the certification lasts for a total of 5 years, and then they're up for renewal. So they do have a yearly check-in, so the accountability mechanism stays in place as well. I hope that kind of answers most of the question.
Yeah, and I guess more of a follow-up, what is it you'd like to see the city do?
Yeah, so from Salmon Safe's perspective, we're not an advocacy group, but we are offering ourselves as a tool. So it can be recommendations to private developers or any agriculture practice that comes to seek permitting from the city to suggest that these already align significantly with the city's policies, and Salmon Safe takes a holistic approach and takes all those bits of policies and guidelines and puts them into one and offers it as a nice kind of package for developers to digest a bit more easily as well.
So is there a takeaway? Would it be like some information at the development?
Yeah,
exists,
potentially.
or
Yeah, so we've
checklist?
had
Okay.
Yeah, we've had recommendations from other municipalities, and we work with First Nations partners as well. So Squamish often recommends us as or requires developers to achieve Salmon Safe certification for their building permits and such. I don't know if Nina or Nicole has anything to add to that as well.
Yeah, I think the Salmon Safe program, it really creates an incentive for developers to do better. And to, regulatory frameworks are complex at different levels, institutional levels, but Salmon Safe standards encourages them to sort of do better, go to a higher standard.
Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Wallace.
Thank you through the mayor. Thank you for your report, and thank you for your constant good work in protecting land and water. Nathan asked the question that I wanted as far as developers go. I'm particularly concerned about pesticide reduction and water quality protection. And if what can we take away as far as our best practices when it comes to pesticide use and what to be using. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so in the meantime, of course, if Salmon Safe is not an option or there's some sort of cost barrier, the standards are open source, as well as our high hazard pesticide and chemical list as well. So that's available on our website, and I can also probably link it in the chat as well. But that lists a number of pesticides that have been found to be extremely detrimental to salmon and other aquatic species. So anything on that list should be heavily restricted, and there's many other integrated pest management approaches that use more holistic and nature-based approaches that can be implemented as well.
Thank you. And as far as the salmon certification program, is that something that we apply for, or that how do we go about doing that?
Yeah, so it depends on how the city would like to move forward. So there are examples from our United States partners where they have had the city of Portland become Salmon Safe, which requires all civic operations and buildings to be Salmon Safe certified. So that's quite an extensive and long process as well, but definitely worth it to investigate. And then otherwise it can also be used as a recommendation, as I said, for like building permits and other sort of applications coming into the city.
So I'm wondering, with Nicole being on our environmental sustainability committee, if this is something that we could bring forward to the committee, if that's a possibility. I think it's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. We can follow up and perhaps get that on our next agenda, and I can bring a little bit of information forward there as well.
Thank you.
Councillor Albrecht.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation, Andrea, Nina, and Nicole. I'm going to touch on what Rosemary was talking about just prior to, and I'm a co-chair of that environment committee, and I would love to have a presentation, and maybe we can work or incorporate some action items that our committee can recommend bringing forward to council for consideration in the future, because I think we're doing a pretty progressive job in protecting our environment, but there's always so much more we can do. So thank you very much.
Great, thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? Thank you very much, ladies. It's great to see you.
Thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andrea.
Okay, moving on. Our second delegation is Ishtar Women's Resource Society, second stage housing for women and children. Maureen Berlin, Executive Director, and Meredith Clementson, Stop the Violence Coordinator.
Yeah. Hello, can you hear us?
We can hear you. We can't see you, Maureen.
I think we haven't been let in.
Oh. Okay.
I hear you.
Your host has to start. Yeah, there we go. Working now?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Mayor and Council, thank you very much, first of all, for giving us the opportunity to present today. We really appreciate your time. As you already have addressed, Mayor Val, is that it's an extremely sad day for all of us, especially all of us that are working to try and make Langley a healthy, safe city for people to live in. So, as I say, we stand in solidarity for everyone working together for this. Today, we're asking you to, we're trying to give you a better idea on what second stage housing is for women and children in Langley. And we're emphasizing the fact that Langley is the only city of its size in the province that does not have second stage housing for women and children and has not got the support from BC Housing to go forward with this. We do have a letter of commitment from BC Housing from November of 2018. Promising to move forward with their development team to help us support it, but to date we do not have it. However, I have to say it was the people of Langley that first identified the need for women fleeing domestic violence. So transition houses were started in your city 49 years ago by courageous women that identified this need, but unfortunately we haven't gone to the next step. So with that, I'm going to put you over to my colleague Meredith, who's going to give you the other part of the presentation.
Well, thank you again for the opportunity to come and speak with you today. We'll say just a little bit of a word first about what second stage housing actually is. So Ishtar Women's Resource Society provides short-term housing for women at our transition houses. We have two of them, one in Langley and one in Aldergrove. And these are meant to be short-term stays of 30 plus days. They tend to be longer now given the housing crisis in Langley. Second stage housing for women or for anyone who needs it tends to range between 18 months and 2 years. This kind of housing provides further stability for individuals who are transitioning out of a violent situation.
Right now, if you leave your name and number, I'll give you a call back as soon as I can.
Like we've got somebody a little bit off of mute, Nina, if you want to put yourself on mute.
Please record your message.
It's 3 years in, we're all still kind of in the same boat. So that's what second stage housing is. And as Maureen mentioned, Langley is the only municipality of its size, of a population over 100,000, that doesn't yet have such a facility. And this is quite a loss. We know that Langley is a rich and vibrant community. We were identified this year as the second fastest growing municipality of all of British Columbia. And with all of that influx of population comes a huge amount of opportunity for flourishing and vibrancy, but also comes with it a great need for infrastructural supports to make sure that all of our community members are able to access the benefits that there are to living in Langley. And as we were painfully reminded today, not everyone in Langley is equally able to access the benefits of a safe and vibrant life here. And that is certainly true of women in Langley. We know that the problem of domestic violence and family violence does exist in Langley. We know since COVID-19, and with the increased population and increased costs of living, there are increased risks of violence for women in Langley and children, and also increased barriers to building a safe and healthy life after abuse. So to give you just a little bit of a sense of the scope of the issue as it is here in Langley, we'll tell you a little bit about the demand on our services. So we count our nightly stays at our transition houses, multiplying the number of women and children who are staying in the houses by the nights of that, the number of nights in that month. So between October and January of this year, last year to this year, we had an average of 392 women and children staying per night. In our community programs, our community-based victim services and outreach programs, we have about 100 women on each worker's caseload at any given time. In my program, the Stopping the Violence Women's Counseling Program, we generally have about an 8 to 12 month wait list for women to seek trauma counseling. And again, that's just because of the volume of demand on our service. Perhaps most shockingly, between January and July of this year, we had to turn away well over 700 women and children from our transition houses because we did not have any space. So that means women and children who are either returning to risky and violent situations or who had to exit the community in order to be safe. So this is the scope of the problem that we're hoping to address. Second stage housing won't do all of it, but it will move us much further down the road in being able to support women as they leave violent situations. And we know that women who attempt to leave a violent relationship are 5 times more likely to be put into poverty. And so this means that women are making very complex calculations about the best way to keep themselves and most often children in their care safe. They're having to ask the question, if I find that courage to leave and navigate the other barriers to leaving a violent relationship, where will I go? And increasingly, without the needed supports in terms of affordable housing, the answer to that question is not Langley. Women are having to either stay in violent situations or to leave our community. And that's a loss because the women and children that we support here are our neighbors. They're part of our faith communities. They work in our local businesses. The children attend our schools. And when they either are forced back into violence or to leave our community, we all lose. And so that's why we are standing here in solidarity with our community partners and with the women that we serve, asking for whatever support, either direct from mayor and council or in advocacy with the province to push through supports for second stage housing for women in Langley. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much, ladies, for that presentation. I see Councillor Martin has a question for you.
Yes, thank you very much. And thank you very much for your presentation. It's really a deplorable situation here in Langley that we don't have second stage housing for women and children in our community. And as you said, a lot of them are our neighbors. I appreciated meeting with Maureen a few weeks ago and learned more about it. And I believe it is in order. I'd like to move that we refer this presentation to staff to explore opportunities between Ishtar, the city, the provincial government, and developers to offer second stage housing for women and children in Langley. Look for a seconder. Thank you very much.
And now a second by Councillor Stortman. Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks again for your presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments or suggestions, questions? Councillor Wallace?
I just want to thank you for your presentation and the good work that you continue to do within our community and presenting those numbers. It's pretty alarming that we have that number of women on a waiting list, meaning that if they're women on a waiting list, children are being sacrificed and an immense, just the trauma and all of that goes along with that. I just want to thank Councillor Martin for putting that forward. I think it's really important, and that we continue to work as a community in supporting women and children against violence, and continue to work with you in partnership to make this come to fruition, second stage housing. Thank you.
Great. Any other comments or questions for Maureen or Meredith? All right. Well, thank you very much, ladies, for the presentation, and I'll call the vote on the motion put forward. Oh, Councillor Sturdivant, sorry. Did you have a comment?
Oh, no, I've just sized myself
sorry,
up
did I
for
miss
that vote. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I appreciate the presentation too. I think there's opportunity for us to work together, and we'll look forward to partnering with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Again, call the vote. All those in favor? Nobody opposed. Thank you very much. That carries. All right. Thank you, ladies. And moving on to the third and final delegation we have today, Africa Canada Education Foundation. Dr. Charles Adadi?
Adadi, you got it right.
Adadi.
Excellent. Without even a hint of accent. That's so beautiful. All right. Thank you, Madam Mayor and honorable councillors. Thank you for the invitation. My name is Dr. Charles Adadi. I am an academic and a community organizer. I combine academic work with community service. So I serve as a resource person for a number of, African-led community organizations in the Lower Mainland. My organization, that is Africa Canada Education Foundation, was founded in 2011. Oh, excuse me, I think there is an alarm here. Just a minute, please. I'm getting an alert. Okay, all right, okay. 2011 to provide educational resources, to underserved, students and youth, including refugees and new immigrants, in the Lower Mainland and also in Africa. We've organized over the years marshaled resources, including, scholarships, refurbished computers, books, and others to donate to schools, a number of schools in Ghana, West Africa. That's where I am from. And I moved to Langley about 5 years ago. And I must say that I have enjoyed every bit of my presence. I keep telling my daughter that initially I had a preconceived notion about Langley. Should we move? Should we not? And we moved, and it's so lovely. We love it here. So thank you for all the hard work you are putting in to make the city a livable and a comfortable place for us. So we applied for, that is Africa Canada Education Foundation applied for a grant from the city to hold what we call a Nancy Chrome Multicultural Festival or Forum. And Anansi is the name of the spider. That is the spider back in Ghana. Okay, the spider, and the festival or the forum is to bring people from different communities to tell their versions of the Anansi story, right? And also they're going to be a barbecue. They're going to be cultural performances by different cultural groups and all that. So that basically about the organization and also the festival.
Well, great. Well, thank you for that. Appreciate it. And when is the event?
The event is going to be this summer. Let me look at the correct date. I don't want to mislead you. The actual date, excuse me. I think it's in September.
September?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I believe Councillor Pahala has a question for you.
All right, okay.
Yeah, thank you very much for your presentation. And as you're aware, you received a grant from us, I believe, which is very exciting.
Yes.
And yeah, the Anansi spider story, I remember that. My mom is from Liberia, and she had
Oh.
these books of West African fables, right?
Mhm,
And that
mhm.
was in there. And it just, I remember that because I haven't heard that since I was a little kid.
Right.
That's
So you
very
now have
cool.
an opportunity to
Exactly.
Yes, yes. Thank
So
you.
thank you
Yeah,
for bringing that to Langley.
it's
I
my
never
pleasure.
thought it would come here, but that's
Right.
very exciting.
Okay, thank you. Mhm.
Great. Any other questions or comments from council? Councillor Wallace.
Thank you through the mayor. Thank you for your presentation. I think it's so important to be educated and to have cultural experiences within our city. And it just makes us richer in having you be able to do that. So thank you for your presentation today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you too.
Great. Well, thank you very much. And we all look forward to seeing you in September.
Lovely. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, so moving on to the mayor's report, the next upcoming meetings, the next regular council meeting is not until September 19th, 2022. And the following one after that would be October 3rd, 2022 for the next regular council meeting. Up next, we have an engineering update with Rick Baumhoff, our Director of Engineering, Parks and Environment.
Okay, thank you very much. I will just share my screen 1 second. All right, thank you. This is a report for July 2022. And first up is the City Park. The North Field Renewal Project was awarded approximately about a week ago. And we're working through just the final details of tender or the contract signing, and work should begin anytime within the next 2 or 3 weeks. We're having a pre-con meeting tomorrow, and the project involves the field renovation and complete new drainage system, irrigation, baseball diamond in the area just where I'm pointing here, just south of, oh, sorry, I'll just put it to, there we go. North of the parking lot area, and includes a baseball diamond and backstop, etc., as well as soccer field and other small baseball diamond facilities within that field. And it also includes an improvement at the north end of the field's entrance off of 205A. That includes a amphitheater, and the amphitheater is in this spot. It's a little bit difficult to see, but that would be a shared facility between the city as well as and the school board for use at Blacklock. This slide is just indicating the location of the 46th Avenue storm sewer replacement. This is a tender that's actually on today's agenda for award, and barring any unforeseen, we expect that project to be completed by this fall. And this is the final touches of the Glover Road project. It's just showing the bike lanes and the planters that were placed. It's a protected bike lane. Big portion of the funding for the surface works, the bike lane infrastructure, was funded through TransLink. And one of the requirements was that it was a protected bike lane. So we added the planters in this area. This is meant as a possible interim solution. Long-term, as development proceeds, we would likely create a raised bike track in these areas. But this is really meant as a somewhat of a pilot project, but it also serves the purpose and enhances bike facilities in the city. And this just shot looking near the Duncan area. This is a picture, 200th Street and 48th Avenue traffic signal replacement. As you can see, significant duct work and work in the intersection, just getting it all prepped. And it's actually moved along a fair amount from this picture. They've put in the curbs, new curbs, and waiting for concrete. Concrete supply has been a real issue lately. So it's put some delays on our projects. This is a shot of the 200th Street sewer connection to the metro line, which is right at the Nicamaco River. You recall this portion of the sewer was done through directional or trenchless technology. And this last piece was left off until we had the final approval through Metro Vancouver for that connection. And now it's all complete and all open and flowing on 200th Street. Also, just as a note, coming up, the 208th Street connector culvert will be relined. So this is, if you can see, this is the parking lot into the park area and the trail coming out onto 208th Street connector. And it's this culvert that will be relined. And that'll be done in the fisheries window between August 1st and September 15th. This is a shot of our boulevard maintenance work that's ongoing, and just a before shot and after, all cleaned up. Another one on 208th Street showing the boulevard cleanup. And this next one is a new storm connection for a property subdivision on 48th Avenue. And as you can well imagine, there's many of these connections, and all of these connections are done by city crews. So it's been a very busy last couple of years with all the development happening. And every so often we do find through our video inspection and also through public complaints or comments, there's cross connections between the sanitary and the storm. And those obviously need to be repaired. So here you can see it where originally for some reason the sanitary was put into the storm drain and the storm was put into the sanitary, and that's been fixed in this, this photo. This is a picture of the Duncan Way pump station transformer upgrade, which is due for upgrade. And a shot showing the branch trimming on the 51B Avenue Bridge. And we don't really get a lot of pictures of Langley Prairie Park, but this was just a great shot after the mowing. And it's a nice community park in this area. And this is a shot of 56th Avenue of the landscape trimming. Unfortunately, this is after it has grown a little bit back, but our crews took the initiative to trim it in a way that is in a wave kind of a form. And it's actually great to see our crews taking that initiative to make things look unique and very good. So just maybe next time you're out in the area, have a look at that. It's actually very well done. It's 56th Avenue from Glover all the way through to around 208th Street. This is a shot of McBurney Plaza deck repairs. It's been repaired really on a temporary basis. There's some significant rot in the decking that we want to have a full assessment done this fall, and for possible budget inclusion for 2023 for repairs. And this is a shot of the Portage Park Sports Court upgrade. And as you see on the left picture, the paving has been completed. And the upper right, this shows the fencing of the sport court and with the basketball hoops on either side. It won't be a full size as our other sports court up at the Penzer, but it will be a significant improvement over what was there previously. And this is a shot showing the final touches and the lane markings on 208th Connector Bike Project. So that is 100% complete now. And other projects, just to make council and the public aware of some of the projects that are happening. The floodplain mapping, the final report has been submitted to the city. Staff is reviewing the results and will prepare a report to council in September. And on average, the flood construction level will be increasing by about 0.5 meters for a 200-year flood event, taking into account climate change. So any new construction that would be going in once the bylaw has been updated would be required to increase the foundation construction level. And the water and sanitary master plans, the first draft of the report has been submitted and staff have provided feedback for inclusion. And the project completion is expected by September of 2022. And the transportation master plan stakeholder engagement session was held on June 29th. Input is being incorporated into the plan. And a final community survey is planned for this fall, as well as the final report and submission to council for approval by November. All of these master plans, the next step is to update our development cost charge plan, our bylaw. Once we have these master plans, we'll know what projects will be required going forward over the next 20 to 25 years. And then the DCC plan can be updated subsequent to that. And also another project that's underway, just been awarded actually today, is because it was below the threshold to go to council, but the asphalt patching and traffic calming work. The traffic calming portion is the 198 C Street, right by Penzer Park. So there'll be traffic speed humps installed at that location. Thank you. That is my report.
No, thank you to you and your staff for such wonderful work, Mr. Baumhoff, and thank you for the report and update. I have a question about the planters. Are they going to be removed on Glover Road for the winter, or are they going to stay there 24/7? Do you know?
They would stay.
Okay. Are we looking at, I know one of them had a little tiny strip of reflector tape on it. I'm wondering if we're going to be adding anything. I know I drove it the other night and it was pitch black and you couldn't really see it. So I'm wondering if we can add reflective tape or something to it to make it more identifiable where they are, especially when the winter months come.
Yes, thank you. And that definitely is, we have that in the works. It's just a matter of having our crews install the reflectors, but yes, we will do that. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Wallace, go ahead.
Thank you through the mayor to Mr. Baumhoff. Awesome to hear about the flood construction level increase and also the Portage Park upgrade, active sports basketball, and I assume those were hockey nets or.
Yes, yeah, combination, yes, multi-sport, yes, thank you.
Yeah, and all of the other work you guys are doing, it's a lot. But I do have a concern in regards to McBurney Plaza deck repairs. There's a considerable amount of damage and rotting that you can see, and it is such an active passageway and a place for performances and so on and so on. In looking to the future, I think we're going to have to look at something completely different than what was chosen. And I wanted to know your thoughts on that in moving forward.
Yes, thank you. And that is one of the considerations for sure, that we want it assessed and determine if it's, number one, if it's repairable, what the cost would be, and what the other options are for other potential materials. So as we know, there's been some slip issues. There's been some rodent, concerns in the area, so there's a number of things that also would factor into deciding how we want to make this repair.
Mhm.
That's why we want to do it this before the next budget cycle, that we can include a request in for 2023.
And I guess in just asking that question, it's the long-term use of that and using materials that will last longer. I actually lost a ring there. They ever find a ring there?
Oh.
Performance. So
Okay.
I'm sure there's a lot of things that have been lost through the cracks there because it's a well-used performance plaza and place to just sit and have lunch and so on and so on. So thank you for that.
Okay, you bet.
Councillor Sturtevant.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Baumhoff. Please accept my compliments to you and your team for the tremendous work that you do in the community. I am always impressed by how quickly I get a response to requests for service applications. And of course, this year, I'm very much impressed by the plantings again. I think the plantings were just gorgeous, and I'm sure that a lot of us are feeling good about seeing those plantings in a time when, we're coming out of this pandemic and in today's terrible situation unfolding. So thank you for bringing a little bit of beauty into our lives. I do have a request for some information about something. This was one of the requests for service that I sent through, and I might encourage the general public to go to our website if you have a request for service and ask the city to help out. But this was with regard to a fire hydrant in the 2201-50-100 block of the Fraser Highway. I saw that the hydrant was leaking, and I sent in a request for service. And the next thing I know, oh my goodness, the whole sidewalk's ripped up and they're going deep into the ground, and we've got a digger and a dump truck and all what's going on there. I thought you might have included that in your report, but I can't help but be curious because it's right across from where I live, and I thought that I might be able to get some clarity on that. And I was wondering if that's the sort of thing that happens with some frequency, because it looked like there was a lot of work done to repair what I thought was a fairly small little water leak. Can you comment on that, Mr. Baumhoff?
I don't have the specifics. However, I do know, when there's a leak occurs, and there actually was one fairly close to that a year or two ago, a little bit to the east, and it typically is something that they need to dig down to find. So I presume that the situation was that, they investigated, and if that flooding was significant, then they did have to go down to the main. And I don't know the specifics of what the repair was, but as you can well imagine, you go down 4 or 5 feet, you need an excavator, and it takes out the sidewalk panel, and it's quite a bit involved with that process. So, and that was needed to make that repair.
Yeah, no, that's fair. It was fairly involved. I just couldn't help but be curious to know what it was and whether or not that's something that is familiar to hydrants or connections or whatever. So we'll just stay in touch on that one. But I can say that the crew was dedicated and efficient, and they did a really good job of protecting the public while they were at it. So again, my compliments to you and your team, and I hope you have a nice August break. Thank you.
Thank you,
Madam Mayor.
Councillor Pahal.
Thank you, and through the mayor to Mr. Baumhoff. Quick question on 56. Are they putting in fiber optic cables, or you might have mentioned that, but I might not have. Yeah.
Yes, they are. That's that section. We're doing a complete design of all the underground utilities, but the fiber optics was ready to go earlier. So we're going ahead with that portion of the work. But yes, it's currently the fiber is just a wire that was dug in close to the curb. This is digging it a little bit deeper, putting it in conduits, and making it a little bit more secure than what we had in the past.
That's great. And I should probably know our budget off the top of my head, but are we planning on a resurfacing on that whole entire section of the street in this year? Next year's budget?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm assuming all the utility work will be completed in time for that, which will be great. Because I know sometimes we had a nice nice road, and unfortunately there'll be a new development project and then they have to cut it up and then it's not so nice anymore. And I think that degrades the life of the road, from what I understand. So
Yeah, and we do our best to avoid that. Unfortunately, I can never guarantee, as you said, with development, but, an example recently was on 203 Street, right near Industrial. TELUS came to us with a need to do some excavation and put in new ducting. And we pushed back on them and really pushed them to go into the sidewalk. So you're just removing a couple of sidewalk panels instead of digging out into the road. So fortunately, we were able to avoid that, but it's definitely top of mind when we want to avoid excavating into new asphalt or relatively new.
thank you. And just one final question. When we had those flooding events, were we able to get good information to help feed into the new flood elevation bylaw?
Yes, we did. And in fact, that was one of in the previous budget amendment request, we asked for an additional $20,000 because of the added work that flooding. They were able to collect a lot of great data from that, incorporate that into the plan. So yes.
Yeah, I mean, it was there was obviously some loss to some stratas and properties, but I think we really, compared to other communities, were less impacted. So the silver lining for us is now, we know what to do for the future. And I think it's perfect timing because that will be incorporated, I suppose, in tandem with what we're doing with our zoning bylaw as well. I guess they all fit together probably. Is that fair to say?
Yes, it will. And that, of course, that's for new development, that the flood construction way would be that much higher. So an added level of protection. For the existing buildings, of course, that won't help them, but it does put somewhat, I guess, gives them a notice that this is the level that it could reach. And just in terms of their preparation of how they respond, could help for that as well.
That's good to hear. I look forward to seeing that report, I guess, in September.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Baumhoff and Madam Mayor.
Right, any other comments or questions? Seeing none, thank you, Mr. Baumhoff. And moving on to Discover Langley City Report with Councillor Sturgeon.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. And I am privileged to present for Discover Langley City report that was created by Danny Silly and Nathan Wishoff. They are marketing coordinators who are helping out for the summer. And they put together a wonderful program, created an eye-catching summer campaign to bring friends, family, and the community back together. What's being presented to you today is the We Miss You campaign, including the promotional videos and social media graphics developed by Danny and Nathan. The campaign consists of pre-stamped postcards with a variety of activities to do in Langley City to encourage people from out of town to visit Discover Langley City's summer attractions. Our students are on location at every event, providing information about the city while handing out these postcards. Social media is a huge part of promoting this campaign, and we are utilizing YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and soon TikTok as well. Vignettes and graphics specific to this campaign are posted on a strategic schedule for the different platforms to increase interest. With over 20,000 followers between the Downtown Langley Business Association and Discover Langley City social media, the potential reach of this campaign is massive and has already begun to exceed expectations. Discover Langley City has put together a PowerPoint so you can see the colorful graphics and clever vignettes that are being used to promote all the great things to do in Langley City and why people want to visit us. So there's 7 in a row. They're all worth watching. And I'm going to ask Director Hilton to proceed. First, our goal is to draw people to Langley City, increase hotel stays, promote local businesses and events, showcase the unique aspects of Langley City. Yeah, isn't that fun? Whether you're planning a trip to Langley City or you're a resident looking to be a tourist in your own town, we've got some great ideas. So come and talk to us at the different events that we're hosting this summer. Come have a delicious meal with me. Langley City is home to 85 restaurants in a 10-kilometer radius, including foods from all around the world. Perfect for foodies. We have something for everyone here. Don't those look wonderful? Next slide, please. Yes, come shopping with me. Langley City has a wide variety of boutique shops to satisfy all your shopping needs. Locally made, vintage, and diverse. Truly a one-of-a-kind shopping experience. Yes, excellent. Come to Langley City and when you come, bring your wallets. Next slide, please. Take a walk through the trails with me. Experience the beauty of British Columbia in the heart of Langley. Langley City has plenty of stunning trails full of exotic plants and wildlife to explore.
Keep it sunny, baby. Keep it sunny, baby. Keep it sunny, baby. I'm ready for you, baby. Keep it sunny, baby.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's you. Listen to awesome live music with me. Downtown Langley is filled with events and live performances and is the perfect place to share your love of music with friends and family. Yeah, listen to live music here. Honestly, we have just so much tremendous talent in our community. And the music is just ongoing. Next slide, please. Tour the amazing murals with me. Langley City is home to over 30 one-of-a-kind murals, some of which are activated using augmented reality. Check out our mural walk and experience the breathtaking art of Langley City.
And then it went like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We can fly if you take me under your wing, but let me do my thing. And then it went like
Wonderful. Yes, you can make the murals move using your phone. It's amazing. You'll love it. Next slide, please. Come to the Arts Alive Festival with me. With over 200 visual and performing artists, this must-attend festival has become a signature event in the Lower Mainland. This free family event features live musical performances, artists and artisans showcasing a myriad of mediums, live demonstrations, and children's venue, and special performance surprises all day long. Wonderful. Yes, that's our big event of the year, the Arts Alive Festival. And I haven't been counting. Have we got one more of these lovely videos? Oh, okay. Social media giveaway, 2-night stay at Coast Hotel plus 300 downtown dollars. It's a giveaway campaign that's received overwhelming support from the community in the past and resulted in 184 shares, 1,785 comments, and 2,328 accounts reached. So you'll want to come down and engage with that social media giveaway in person and or on your devices. Other updates will be coming. The marketing interns of Danny and Nathan have been working on a variety of projects listed here. Update and revitalize guides, create and manage that TikTok account, contact sponsors for the prize wheel. We're having that prize wheel again, creating the August newsletter, attending and engaging at events, and working with a new photographer to update our photo inventory. I believe that's it. Do we have any questions?
Councillor Bahal.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and to the mayor, to Mr. Sordaboom. That's quite the amazing marketing campaign. What I really like about him is that we have those materials or collateral or whatever it's called, but the videos and pictures are of real people from Langley City or visitors doing real things in our community. And it's just great to see it come together after collecting all these materials after all these years. And it's really quite slick. And I like that you had the, I really like the one with the interactive murals. I really like that one with the people, I'll just say it, being cool and vibing, if that's the term that they use nowadays. I really like that. So thanks to DLC for putting this together. Not only does it help get more hotel stays, which is the whole point of the organization, but you know, it really puts a shine on our community. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Absolutely. Thank you for your kind comments. I wish I could take credit for all of this, but I'm happy to be the presenter.
Councillor Albert.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to say it's a brilliant marketing strategy to embrace, support, and celebrate the community that we have. So well done, and look forward to hearing how the results play out, but I assume they'll be fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Albrecht. I appreciate you letting me take the lead on this one. And again, my appreciation for Danny and Nathan for putting together this tremendous campaign. I think they've done a wonderful job for us, and they should be appreciated when you get a chance to meet them. Thank you very much, all. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Great, thank you very much. Lots of great stuff happening there. Any other questions or comments? No, you're good. Thanks, Councillor Sturgeon. Okay, moving on to bylaws. Yes, bylaw 3216, zoning amendment number 189 and development permit number DP 0522, third reading of a bylaw to rezone the properties located at 20121, 20131, 20141, 20151, 20161, 20171, 53 Avenue from RS1 single family residential zone to the CD85 comprehensive development zone to accommodate a 5-story 93 unit rental apartment development that that the bylaw cited as a zoning bylaw in 1996, number 2100, amendment number 189, 2022, number 3216 be read a third time. Need a mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Pahal, Councillor Sturdivant, any discussion? Seeing none, call the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? And that carries. Bylaw 3205, zoning bylaw amendment number 187 and development permit number 1421. Final reading of a bylaw to rezone the properties located at 5494 5508 Brighton Crescent and 19890 55A Avenue from RS1 single family residential zone to the CD83 comprehensive development zone to accommodate a 6-story 92-unit apartment development. Motion forward is that the bylaw cited as a zoning bylaw 1996, number 2100, amendment number 187, 2022, number 3205, be read a final time. Need a mover, Councillor Sturdivant, Councillor Pahal. Any discussion? Even though you're scratching your nose, I'll take that as a second. All those in favor and any opposed, and that moves. Okay, development permit number DP 1421, that development permit application number 1421 for a 6-story 92-unit apartment development at 5494 to 5508 Brighton Crescent and 19890 55 Avenue be approved. I need a mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Sturdivant, Councillor Pahal, any discussion? Call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Okay, on to bylaw 3178, zoning amendment number 178 RZ 0521 and development permit DP 0721. Final reading of a bylaw to rezone the properties located at 20137 and 20139 Fraser Highway from the C2 service commercial zone to the C1 downtown commercial zone to accommodate a 6-story 144-unit apartment and 841 meter square commercial mixed-use development. Motion that the bylaw cited as zoning bylaw 1996, number 2100, amendment 178, 2021, number 3178 be read a final time. Need a mover and a seconder. Councillor Paul, Councillor Sturdivant, any discussion? Call the vote. All those in favor? Anybody opposed? And that carries. So on to then development permit number 0721. That development permit application number 0721 for a 6-story 144-unit apartment and 841 meter squared commercial mixed-use development at 20137 and 20139 Fraser Highway be approved. Need a mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Sturdivant, Councillor Pahal, any discussion? Call the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? And that carries. On to committee reports. Arts, Recreation, Culture and Heritage Committee, Rotary Centennial Park washroom murals. And I believe Councillor Wallace, you're going to speak to this, please.
Yes, thank you through the mayor. That council approve up to $10,000 for the Public Art Fund to be used on mosaic mural, north wall, and a painted mural, east wall, on the Rotary Centennial Park washroom building, incorporating the theme of flight and movement. So if I could speak to a bit about the summary through the mayor. On June 21st, 2022, the Arts, Recreation, Culture and Heritage, the Arch Committee meeting, the group finalized the decision on the 2 murals at the Rotary Centennial Park washroom building, north and east walls. A member of the committee has connected with Maker's Cube to discuss the mosaic mural on the north wall, 288 wide and 288 wide and 94 inches tall, which will include the theme of flight and movement. The painted mural to be located on the east wall, 152 inches wide by 94 inches tall, will also have a theme of flight and movement, recognizing flight paths of birds and planes in the area, as well as movement from one place, country to another, and transitions of people in the area. The painted mural on the east wall will be a call to artists, while the north wall will be a collaborative effort with the community. The Arch Committee will work collaboratively with the Makers Cube, Langley Community Services Society, and community surrounding the park to engaging participation with the mosaic mural. Currently, there is $40,000 and 451 in the Public Art Fund. There are no outstanding projects attributed to this funding source. And if there are any questions.
I guess you read the motion, I'll second it. So we got discussion.
Yes, right, sorry.
Sorry.
Excuse me for that, yes.
Then I need to see who had their Councillor Sturtevant as first.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Wallace, for your presentation. I'm a little bit surprised here. I gotta say that I remember that this is not the first time that this building has been painted. In fact, the first time we put a mural on it, I got my friend Kyle Good to do it for the cost of materials. And now it's going to cost $10,000 to paint this washroom with murals. Can you tell me, is that the going rate? Can you justify that expense? It just seems a little steep, if you don't mind my saying so.
Well, I can justify in regards to painted murals versus the mosaic mural. So the mosaic mural cost and installation and working with the Makers Cube. Yes, and costs have gone up considerably since that last mural was painted, which is quite a long time ago. So, you know, it could end up being under that cost, but we have to go to a certain cost when we are, you know, we are partnering with community groups, and we're trying to engage the community as well, that the important part of that. And there might be some pre-assembly and organizing before it actually happens. So doing a mosaic mural is quite extensive. So if that answers some of your questions.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your response. Can you distinguish, for my sake, the difference between like a regular mural and a mosaic mural?
So a mosaic mural is done with clay. So hence the Makers Cube, they have a studio, or, you know, they have those materials. So it's about putting pieces together and done out of clay.
Okay, so and then they're assembled off site and then they're attached to the building. Is that the deal?
Yes.
Okay, so this is going to be a lot of money. Again, you know, sorry, I'm just cheap, you know. How are we going to protect this from being defaced? Because that's happened there before. That park is a little bit secluded and it has that potential of vandalism, right?
So you know what, through the mayor to you, Councillor Sturtevant, that can happen anywhere in our city. And I think the thoughts of doing this and engaging community is that they take the pride in being a part of that and bringing public art to their community and being a part of that. So that's what we you know, talked about as a committee. It's really important. There has been a lot of negative connotations and things at that park, and you know what, we need to encourage inclusion and that creativity and taking ownership of that park, and hence the reason why we came up with the theme that we did. So I hope that answers you. We you know, we have to take those chances with public art. It's just you know, and then if you have a community involved, and I know from past and being involved in public arts and doing murals, that when you know, the ownership of that is a positive.
Think you very much. I appreciate the fact that this is different from a standard mural. Thank you for pointing that out to me. I can't help but think that there is money in the pot, and I like the idea of seeing some of these public displays of art coming to the forefront. So thank you for your hard work in this, and thank you, Councillor Albrecht, for your thumbs up and being a part of this too. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Paul. Go ahead.
Thank you, and through the mayor to Councillor Wallace. I definitely support this initiative. I don't know if we have a mosaic, like I know we had the Canada 150 plus thing, but I don't think we have a true mosaic piece of art in our community. Now, are these the actual like mosaic tile bits that would be colored, and then by putting them together, it will reveal the whole design?
Yes, I
okay.
think, yeah, I think there is just some work to be done with that a little bit, whether we'll do little tiles and put it together or do that mosaic of pieces and put it together. So that's the collaboration piece with the community and with Makers Cube, because, you know, they've the experts in the material. So
Yeah, that'll be exciting to see. Will you be able to send that maybe to council, not for us to approve or not approve, but I'm just genuinely curious on what it will look like even before it's installed. Is
yeah,
that something?
most definitely. And thanks for mentioning the mosaic. We do not have a mosaic mural using that material in the city. And then it's nice to have our first one, and maybe it will turn out to be, I mean, it will turn out to be awesome, and we'll have more. So definitely, if it does get accepted this evening, we will let, you know, as it progresses, we will send pictures to the rest of council.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Great. Thank you very much. Sounds like an exciting project. And you're right, we do need some nice stuff in that area. Murals are always nice. So call the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? And that carries. All right, on to administrative reports. Proposed amendments to council policy CO45, solicited or unsolicited gifts for benefits received by members of council. Motion is that amended council policy CO45, solicited or unsolicited gifts or benefits received by members of city council be approved. Need a mover and a seconder. Councillor Pahal, Councillor Sturdivant, any discussion? I believe this is just housekeeping. Councillor Sturdivant.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I appreciate that this is being brought forward. I think that everybody needs to know what the rules are. And the fact is, we're not really allowed to accept any expensive gifts or anything like that. I am kind of curious though, because in our capacity as representatives for the community, duly elected, we also engage in different draws. I know, for example, Rotary's doing a 50-50 draw, and you know, if I win $200,000, I'm not going to say no thank you, but that's not necessarily my capacity as a city councillor. But if I go to the Chamber of Commerce and I win a door prize, would that come into effect? Because it may be that I'd be winning tickets to a sporting event and maybe a meal, and that would be $250 right there. So I wouldn't mind a little bit of clarity on this with regard to those situations in particular. I've made a habit of
Penny, did you want to address that, please?
I can enter the contest, but I'm not allowed to win it, you know.
Yes, thank you through the mayor to Councillor Sturdivant. So obviously this isn't intended to address each specific event, but to provide some guidance so that you can decide if that would qualify under the community charter. And the way it's sounding, if you're attending an event in the performance of your duties as a councillor and you purchase something that's over $250, doesn't mean you can't keep it, but you have to disclose that you have received that.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that clarification. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Great. Thank you. Okay, so call the vote. All those, did I get a mover and a seconder for that? I think I did. Sorry, it's been a long day. Okay, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? And that carries. Okay, on to award of tender T 2022-011 46th Avenue Storm Sewer Motion. One, that tender T 2022-11 46th Ave Storm Sewer be awarded to Klondike Infrastructure Unlimited based on the tendered amount of $549,124.68, excluding GST. And two, that council authorize the Director of Engineering, Parks and Environment and the Corporate Officer to execute the contract document for T 2022-11, or sorry, T 2022-011 46th Avenue Storm Sewer to Klondike Infrastructure Limited. Give me a second, please. Sturtevant and Hall. Any discussion or questions? Call the vote. All those in favor, any opposed, and that carries. All right, on to new and unfinished business. Late in-kind grant application, the Terry Fox Run, and I believe Councillor Wallace, you're going to speak to this, please.
Thank you through the mayor. Thank you, council colleagues, for letting me bring this forward. This late motion in request that the Terry Fox Committee request the amount of $1,083 in kind to host this year's Terry Fox Run on September 18th, 2022 in Douglas Park. And I believe you received the numbers, previous email I've sent them. I won't read them out again. And I know I don't want to set a precedent here, but the Terry Fox Run, in just the concerns of COVID and the uncertainty of being able to host a run, with the public this year was in question. So this is why this is a late grant application. It is all in kind. And I hope that we can support it so that we can have, again, raise money for the Terry Fox Foundation by having the run and walk go through the trails of Langley City. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wallace. And did you read the motion out that the City Council awarded community grant totaling $1,083 to the Terry Fox Foundation 2022 Terry Fox Run? Did you want to second that?
No, I didn't. That was not the motion that I read out.
Oh.
The motion I read out was that the Terry Fox Committee requests the amount of $1,083 in kind to host this year's Terry Fox Run on September 18th, 2022 in Douglas Park.
Okay, I'll second that. Councillor James.
Thank you through the mayor to Councillor Wallace. Yeah, as an event planner, I understand this has been a weird year. Nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows what's happening. We have traffic management plans and stuff. So I understand the concern from other members of council that might be thinking that this is a precedent, but I don't think so. I think this is a long-standing event, and I want to thank you for being the champion. You always have supported this event, so I'm 100% supportive of this.
Councillor Bahal.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and I am supportive of this, but I don't think the motion as presented necessarily directs staff to do anything. So I may propose, just because the city council is who would have to approve the award, there's just no action on what the city's to do in the motion. So I'd just like to propose one just for clarity of staff that, and I'll put it forward that we amend it to basically say we remove it and then say that city council award a community grant totaling $1,038 to the Terry Fox Foundation, Terry Fox Run. I just put that forward.
That was the motion I originally read, actually, which is in my notes.
So if I may,
take yours back.
If I may, the Terry Fox Foundation, this money, I guess it's for using the facilities for the Terry Fox Run, which is hosted by the committee to go towards raising monies for the Terry Fox Foundation. So I could go on to say what the monies are for, or in kind, I've already done, but I'm fine with that.
If you want to take back your motion, I'll reread the one that I had originally, which is what Nathan Councillor Bahal just stated. And that covers us I can't even say it.
Legislatively, if I may, Madam Mayor.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so motion that City Council award a community grant totaling $1,083 to the Terry Fox Foundation 2022 Terry Fox Run. And then you can second it, Councillor Wallace. Okay. All those in favor? And that carries. Done. Excellent. Yes, it's the event that has been around a long time. 30 years now, remember that? I can't even remember now. Okay, on to next motions. First of my two motions being brought forward, report motion 2022-0725, Mayor Val Vandenbroek. Whereas the participating members of the council for the city of Langley voted to censure and sanction Mayor Val Vandenbroek for conduct unbecoming on May 10th, 2022, and to release a statement to the public regarding the same. And whereas the city released a statement to the public on May 12th, 2022, informing the public of council's decision to censor the mayor. And whereas council for the city of Langley continued to release closed private information to the public on May 30th, 2022, contrary to considerations under the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, RSBC 1996 C165, FOIPPA, section 22, 3B, D0 and G of FOIPPA, as it implicated the personal information of the council member. And whereas in Regina versus Skaken, B 2014 357 BCAC 20CA, Mr. Skaken sought judicial review of a decision made by the city of Prince George to consider censuring and sanctioning him for disclosing a confidential report concerning workplace harassment within the city offices to the media, contrary to his oath of office. Dismissing the petition, Justin Crawford comment at paragraph 44 that the power to censure must be exercised with great care and great discretion, lest in turn into an abuse of process for cheap political gain. So therefore be resolved, the following motion should be passed. Motion A, that's Langley City Council members formally note that the contents of the report shall remain confidential as required by council and its agents and its agent, the city of Langley, unless and until there is an agreement between the parties and the report writer. And B, that Langley City Council members specifically prevent any party or participant, including themselves, from using portions of the report and or media releases for any purposes, including but not limited to campaign materials. You have a seconder on that for discussion? Councillor Pahal, go ahead.
I was just seconding it, Madam Mayor.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if you had a comment. Councillor Sugarman, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. There's a lot going on there, and it would probably be wise for council to defer that to staff, maybe even a lawyer, I don't know. So I would like to move that we defer this to staff for a future report. If I can have a seconder. Thank you very much.
Sorry, I just noticed I was on mute. Councillor Albrecht, second that. Further discussion? Okay, call a vote for deferral. All those in favor? And that carries. So that is going to be deferred to staff.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, motion number 2, harassment, bullying, discrimination motion 2022-0724, provided by Mayor Val Vandenbroek. Whereas Langley City Council members sanctioned Mayor Val Vandenbroek under Langley City's Respectful Workplace Policy, the Workers' Compensation Act, and the Occupational Health and Safety Guidelines and Policies on 2022-0510, and made several media posts announcing this fact on Thursday, May 12, 2022, and Tuesday, May 31st, 2022. And whereas Langley City's Respectful Workplace Policy, Administrative Policy number HR01, states the #1 purpose is to assist the City of Langley and its employees in promoting and maintaining a respectful work environment in which all employees are treated with respect and dignity and is free from discrimination and harassment, to outline the roles and responsibilities of the city and its employees in fostering a respectful workplace, and to provide procedures for resolving complaints of harassment and discrimination. And whereas under the Community Charter Part 5, Municipal Government and Procedures Division 1, Council Roles and Responsibilities, 116.1, the mayor is the head and chief executive officer of the municipality, and 2G, to reflect the will of council and to carry out other duties on behalf of the council. H, to carry out other duties assigned under this or any other act, i.e. TransLink Mayor's Council. Mayor Vandenbroek was invited to attend and did attend a confidential federal government Prime Minister's Office meeting announcement on behalf of the Mayor's TransLink Council on 2021-07-09. Council members were informed 2022-07-07 by Mayor Vandenbroek, who was attending the announcement and who would try to provide more details when and if it was allowed by the Prime Minister's office, as the information was not the mayor's information to share. TransLink did inform Mayor Val Vandenbroek that other members of councils could not be invited due to COVID restrictions, of which council members were informed on 2020-07-08. On 2020-07-08, a City of Langley council member replied to Mayor Val Vandenbroek, to all of council and to staff, the following: "Me thinks someone wants her picture taken versus being part of a team." And whereas on 2020-01-27 in Langley City Council chambers, after the motion to investigate the mayor's charity gala, after the motion to investigate the mayor's charity gala was approved by Langley City Council, a member of Langley City Council verbally informed Mayor Val Vandenbroek in front of city staff that several council members had decided that they would wipe the smirk off her face and take her down as mayor, and they stated and had the opinion that she wasn't qualified for the job. And whereas an email was sent out to Langley City Council members with the following statement about Mayor Val Vandenbroek: "She walked into my office with a smirk on her face." And whereas Mayor Val Vandenbroek has had major surgical repair to her entire face due to a ski accident in 1997 that removed her nose, which was rebuilt out of her upper lip and cheeks and left her with nerve damage to her entire face. And whereas a discriminatory racial email was received by Mayor Val Vandenbroek from a city council member stating that Indigenous Day was never going to bring the legacy of Community Day in Douglas Park, and that organizers could find another place and date outside the city of Langley. And whereas Mayor Val Vandenbroek was informed by a member of council that women shouldn't be in politics, especially mayors, and they don't have the capability of being powerful like men are. And whereas Mayor Val Vandenbroek has been subject numerous times to name calling, intimidation, personal attacks, and facial mocking and mimicking during council meetings, events, and community meetings by other Langley City Council members. Therefore, be it resolved that in accordance with stated Langley City's respectful workplace policy, policy number HR01, if it applies to all members of staff, council members, and the mayor, that the council members of Langley City immediately authorize and direct that an independent inquiry be conducted to review the various actions regarding Mayor Val Vandenbroek by any and all individuals bound by the noted policy, whether specified in the motion or not, and to report back to all Langley City Council members in a timely manner. Anybody want to second that? Councillor Pahal. Councillor Sturdivant.
Wow, what can I say? It's just too much. Was this under new business or was this a motion? I guess it's a motion. Yeah, I'm gonna ask that we defer that for staff. There's a lot in there. It's just a list of grievances. And next thing you know, everybody on council is going to be listing all of their grievances too. And I just wish we'd get past this and move on. I think an apology would probably be in order, but maybe that's saying too much. I would make a motion to defer this to staff for input. And please know, my principal interest in keeping this report confidential is simply to protect the innocent.
I'll second the motion with pleasure.
Thank you very much.
So you want to defer it to staff to deal with council and staff issues?
For advice, yes, please.
Okay. All those in favor? Carries. Wonderful. All right, new business, public release of closed reports from the April 25th and May 9th, 2022 closed meetings, Surrey Langley SkyTrain project, supportive policies agreement SPA, and overarching supportive policy agreement OSPA.
You need to move her?
That's.
Sorry,
Oh, I have-
that's just for information. It's been released and now it's on the agenda for the public. to see.
Oh, okay. Do we need a mover in a second or like that to receive the correspondence for this as well, Kelly or Kenny?
No, Madam Mayor.
Okay, perfect. So just for information. Okay, so we're gonna go into a motion to hold a closed
One
meeting.
thing, Madam Mayor, did you want to make a motion to half mast those flags because of the situation in Langley City from this morning?
Yes, we could, but we would have had to add it on. Let's talk about that after in the. We'll add it later or
Okay.
talk about it at another, maybe tomorrow or something.
Okay,
Add it
good
to the
boss.
council
Thank you.
meeting. Okay, motion to hold a closed meeting, that the council meeting immediately following this meeting be closed to the public as the subject matter being considered relates to items which comply with the following closed meeting criteria specified in section 90 of the community charter. 1E, the acquisition, disposition, or expropriation of land or improvements. If the council considers that disclosure could reasonably be expected to harm the interests of the municipality. 1J, information that is prohibited or information that if it were presented in a document would be prohibited from disclosure under section 21 of the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. 2B, the consideration of information received and held in confidence relating to negotiations between the municipality and a provincial government or the federal government or both, or between a provincial government or the federal government or both and a third party. Motion that the meeting adjourn. I need a mover and a seconder, please. Sturgeon and Pahal, all those in favor? And that carries. Thank you. Have a great evening, everyone. Kelly, can you turn, Miss Kenny, can you please turn the recording off?